Trans women are women, but better because we are empathetic to a hostile world. It is a basic truth that trans people are more empathetic and accepting to outside groups than our cis counterparts. This is in direct opposition to how the world treats us. The world is aggressively hostile to the existence of trans people. It is well known that trans people, and queer people in general, are more likely to be left-leaning, and that means anything from a liberal all the way to a communist. Conservatives are notoriously apathetic, hostile to outside groups, and, to top it all off, scared of change. This all adds up to the basic truth that trans people are just statistically nicer people.
My favorite part about being trans is I can just make misogynistic jokes and people think they're like ironic and self-aware, but like really I just hate women.
Countless studies, surveys, and articles have proven this. I will cite my sources if I need to, or you can just Google it. If you don't like this fact, I recommend becoming a better person.
Be kind, they say. Just play nice. Wouldn't it be easier to shut up and play along? The phrase, be kind, is essentially used to browbeat people into falling into line to avoid what has become the worst label one can be assigned: transphobic. It posits that resistance is futile, and more than that, it is backwards, regressive, clinging on to the ideals of yesteryear. The new, modern, enlightened woman calls trans-identified men her sisters, uses preferred pronouns, and self-censors to prevent offending anyone. And if you don't like it, if, like J.K. Rowling, Maya Forstater, Riley Gaines, or any number of outspoken, uppity women, you decide to continue speaking the unspeakable, that sex is immutable, that men remain men no matter how feminine they are, or how loudly they profess otherwise, and that ignoring this is harmful to women, you'll find that trans people are not very kind in return. If they were so empathetic and kind, then trans-identified males would be aware that their personal perception of themselves is not more important than the safety and comfort of women.
I probably shouldn't be doing this when I'm still emotional, but I feel like I need to get the word out there. So I was just in Primark in Cambridge, and I feel really stupid being emotional about this, but yeah, I was trying on some clothes and it was a unisex changing room, which I'm really for, and I love that because, you know, it makes everyone feel included. But twice, two men opened the curtain, walked in on me. Luckily both times I was wearing fully clothed, but I could easily not have been. And it was two different people, clearly from the same group, and there was probably 100 changing rooms available. So it's not like, you know, it was like, oh, is someone in here or not? It was, you know, clearly. Yeah, the first time it was like as they walked in they did it, and then the second time was one of them said to the other one, oh, like, have you tried it on, like, can I see? And then yeah, he opened it, and both times like I was so shocked and I was like, oh, sorry, like as if it was my fault. But yeah, I have to say though, Primark have been amazing. They were really, really good about it. Yeah, they have walked me back to my car and everything because I was scared. Apparently it's not the first time it's happened, and security are watching back the tapes and seeing if they can find who it is. But yeah, I just want to say to people, please be careful, and if you go in the changing room, try not go on your own. I will never be doing that again. I would rather take it home, try it on, and then take it back and get refunded. So yeah, stay safe.
They would not force their way into women's rape shelters or support groups.
Trans woman crawled into bed with and assaulted a female resident at a women's shelter.
Go watch that video. This one bothered me a lot. Can you imagine, as a woman, going to a women's shelter? Most go there to escape a bad situation, being abused, being raped, being essayed, to get out of a bad situation. and then you go to bed thinking that you're safe, only to have a man attack you in the very space where you should be safe, where there should be no men. Make it make sense for me. How are we allowing this to happen?
Playing sports against women. They would not insist on changing clothes with them, nor would they so staunchly oppose the concept of a third bathroom.
I dare you to try and stop me from going into a women's bathroom. It will be the last mistake you ever make.
In his video, the activist also encouraged other transgender people to buy guns.
Go out, buy a gun. Learn how to use it.
Tara J published his video after the murder of 6 people at a Nashville Christian school and sparked anger online, which led to the removal of the video. The activist later responded to the criticism by saying he would continue to use women's restrooms and women's locker rooms.
I don't give a f if I lose this account. Report it all you want.
Which would allow women and men to retain single-sex spaces while offering a discrete option for those who identify as transgender. They would not send death threats. They would not compare being excluded from women's bathrooms to segregation, or dehumanize women of color. Truthfully, the opposition to gender ideology has been kind. You'd be hard-pressed to find threats of violence from a radical feminist or even conservative opposition towards trans people. It only takes looking at J.K. Rowling's Twitter to find a myriad of the opposite. Many critics ask for a debate, but anything besides complete and unquestioning acceptance has been construed as bigoted. Criticism in general is often portrayed as actual violence, illustrating a hypocrisy as if using accurate pronouns is viewed as violence akin to physical attack, then how are death and rape threats, or actions like nailing a dead rat to a rape shelter door, excusable?
Let me explain why misgendering is an act of violence. I know this sounds extreme, and I know I talk about this a lot, but this is because the situation is extreme. Getting misgendered as a trans and non-binary person not only triggers the trauma of being conditioned into a gender that is not ours, but it also triggers the trauma of existing in a world that at large would prefer we did not exist. So getting misgendered can feel like a smack in the heart. It represents all that we are up against. And yes, mistakes absolutely happen. But let's say you turn a corner and accidentally smack someone across the face. You wouldn't immediately be like, hey look, it was an accident. You would tend to their pain and make sure it doesn't happen again. But then every time you turn that same corner, you continue to smack that person. Yes, it may still be unintentional, but at a certain point, the lack of intention is a choice. So maybe first you have to take in the fact that this causes real harm, and then approach your misstep with the level of awareness and effort that it will take to stop hurting us. I love you.
The crux of the be kind issue is that the phrase means more than those two words would imply. It does not mean be kind like when a parent teaches their child to treat a homeless person with respect. As one over-it commenter notes, it's always been the secular rebranding of keep sweet and obey. In other words, submit. In an article titled Just Be Kind, Graham Lynham writes on this topic, stating, "This is a 21st century witch hunt. A woman has opinions you don't like. There is now a powerful and effective way to silence her, to intimidate her into submission. It makes McCarthy look like an amateur. These new trans activists are a snarling, menacing, all-powerful tour de force, and women must either subjugate themselves completely, as many clearly do, or face a severe punishment for non-compliance. Look around. It's everywhere. Women are doxxed, intimidated, no-platformed, and their jobs and families are threatened. A feminist meeting was disrupted by a jeering mob. Another terrorized the bomb threat. A female academic required a bodyguard on campus. A trades union member was attacked on her own picket line, and a 60-year-old woman was punched in the face by a trans activist at Speaker's Corner. And this is all deemed acceptable under the new regime. Be kind is just another statement reflecting existing patriarchal structures, wherein women are expected to submit to the authority of man. That trans-identified males view themselves as superior to women is evident in how they often brag about being better women, often by defining womanhood by objectification or by subtly acknowledging their own maleness. Not only are we expected to be kind and let trans-identified males into our spaces and follow their orders without comment, but we are expected to praise and validate them. Being kind means catering to low self-esteem, hence why so many women staunchly defend trans-identified males and bolster their egos with positive commentary on their appearance, even if it's unearned. The best female allies, of course, being the ones willing to have sex with them. We are meant to meekly, submissively, and happily welcome the men who threaten us, not just into our spaces, but into our skin. The war over the word woman itself is so often portrayed as silly. Judith Butler argues that trans-exclusionary feminists who argue that gender mutability amounts to an attack on womanhood to notice their own bodies and genders are still intact. Has anything truly been lost or taken away, she asks? As one overt user notes, yes, a group identity as a sex class vulnerable to violence and discrimination based on an immutable characteristic. The ability to name our oppression and the perpetrators of it, or the rights we are owed as a sex class. The kind of thing laws are created to protect, so all protections from those laws. What has been gained through asserting gender mutability, and for whom? This is not a case of stubborn old biddies refusing to let the new neighbors into the knitting circle. This is not a case of white families arguing that new black neighbors are bringing the neighborhood down. This is women as a class coming under attack, from our safety to our reality itself. When you see it that way, be kind is a lot more insidious than it first seems. This, dear viewers, is where we part. I've been holding on to this specific TikTok for a minute because I knew I wanted to respond to it somehow, but I couldn't figure out exactly what to comment on because obviously the opening TikTok was wrong. And then I was noticing a lot of posts, a lot of comments that basically amount to be kind. Why can't you just be nice? And this is why. Being nice is not what they want us to do. They just want us to shut up and go away. And that's nothing new. Feminists have been told to shut up and go away since the beginning of feminism. So, yeah, not gonna do that. Anyhow, if you guys have any comments, questions, or concerns, let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!